So, now that we've talked about the right side of the map entirely, right? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the ideal hunting route, or leaper hunter. Well, what do I mean by ideal? Well, ideal does require some conditions, right? What ideal means, by definition, for hunting in block hunt, as a hunter, it means that there are no blocks, all hiders remain still, which never happens, right? Almost never happens. In almost every game, you're going to find hiders moving. It's rare, not impossible, to find hiders that don't move, right? Hiders that don't move at all. Also, you don't see any hiders in distance, right? No pro hiders, none of that, right? Under ideal, normal conditions, where most of the hiders are still and on the right side of the map, right? I'm going to show you the route that I would use, right, as a leaper hunter. Basically, the way it works is, of course, you start a hunter spawn, right? Right, and I kind of mentioned this in the beginning, but we head in this direction, right? And we head in this tunnel. We're obviously looking for blocks along the way, right? And basically, as for when you approach this spot, sometimes you do find flower pots inside of here. You'll sometimes see hunters launch their bow to check to see if there's a flower pot there, but really it's not. Most games you aren't going to find that, so you don't have to do that. I typically just kind of look to see if there's a hay bale there because I know it's a common spot. But after that, basically as I approach it, I then just move on, right? Then I'm just looking all along the tunnel for hiders, and then after this, as you can see, you'll sometimes find hiders at hider spawn, right? But really, the way I approach hider spawn is I go this way, and I leap this way. I have the ability to leap. I keep heading this way. For the melon stack, I just kind of check it like this. And that's it. So next, I approach this cell just like that. So as you can see, I sort of go in third person to check this melon cell because then I don't have to fully go through it to see if there's a melon there, right? I can just go in third person, and I can easily see if there's anything there. I get a whole overview of what the block pile looks like at that moment, right? And then I head this way. You can launch your bow here. So I've stopped launching my bow because it takes too much time, and, you know, most games you don't find a hider there. But again, out of most hiding spots, it is pretty common. That's what I'm saying. Like, out of every possible hiding spot in existence on this map, right? To find a hider there is pretty common. But again, the way I approach this room is I do this, right? I don't launch my bow there anymore, but basically I sort of check it like that, and then that's it. I don't even like go inside the TNT cell because most of the time you don't find hiders there, and you can already get a pretty good overview of what it looks like just by looking at it like this. I don't even look inside that tunnel, right? I just continue going this way, and this is where I go in third person, and I look up there to see if there, because if you just look at it like this, you have to back all the way up. And again, launching your bow takes a lot of time, and so I kind of just look up there. I look up there, I look up there. Many times you're going to easily see a hider up there just by looking like this, or even in third person, you'll easily find a hider up there. As for hiders up here, it can be really difficult to see if there's a hider right here if you don't go in third person, right? If you're not in third person, you gotta back all the way up, and you obviously don't want to waste your time launching your bow. It just takes too long. If I just go in third person, it's really easy to see if there's a hider there once you jump. And that's it. So then, after this point, I go this way, right? And I pretty much just head this way. I head into this tunnel. Right after this point, I haven't checked the tree yet. So that's the last thing I do on the right side of the map, under ideal conditions, I check the tree. Most of the time, if I see like there's not many hiders on the tree, I'll ignore it until the very end of the game. Right? And I usually approach it from this side, as I mentioned before. And I usually head this way. And this is also the ideal way of doing it if no one's shooting at you, right? But almost every single time, hiders are going to be shooting at you, they're going to try to attack you, right? And so really, usually I'll leap against that, or I'll launch my bow to get rid of them, right? There's many holes that you can launch your bow through. Try, like, if you knock a hider off there, you can then launch your bow that way, and maybe kill them that way. Basically, that's it. I head this way, And of course, I try not to get trapped, right? If you do, as a leap hunter, you can obviously leap out of it. So that was a lot. So I'm going to go through the full route again without going into much of the specifics, so you can see what it looks like overall. That's the route that I use, right? And it's the route that most people use. Again, this is under ideal conditions. Alright, so here's the full run-through of it, without really saying anything, without really going into any specifics. Right, again, this is the ideal route. Maybe not the ideal route, but from what I've discovered, I've constructed this ideal route myself. Right? This basically goes like that. Sometimes I'll like jump like this. Usually I don't even waste my time with that, though. Right. And basically, like that. Sometimes I probably would have leaped, actually, but... So now we approach the tree. And usually I'll leap onto the tree just because it's obviously quicker. Generally speaking, you want to be as quick as possible, if you can. And that's it. So once I basically check the tree, what I typically do is I do kill command. And I have a keybind that types in /kill itself, right? And so really, I basically just press the button to do that, and then I go radar hunter. And then I proceed to the next section of videos on this chapter, which involves the hiding spots on the route for radar hunter. Right, which we're going to talk about all the different block piles in this map, all of them. We're going through every single one. I just need to say that. Sorry. Every single block. No, we're not going to talk about every single one, but just the common spots you might see along the way, because radar obviously takes care of the rest. Basically, we're going to look at all the different patterns you'll see using radar. And so that's really what the next section of video is all about for the museum in this chapter. It is all about radar hunter and hiding spots for that. So that is pretty much it.